We've been expecting you.
Monday, time for our maven of the supernatural, Denise Pridemore. This is the Paranormal Pride. Join to listen and chat live on WBHM-DB.com or Spreaker app. Search WBHM-DB every Monday at 7 p.m. Central for your supernatural paranormal fix. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride, where the show is about the guest and the listener.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and tonight my guest is Keith Ottersburg. I don't know how many of you saw the episode of Till Death on Dead Files, but he was on that, and it was an amazing story. And when I started on this network, Keith was listening, and I had talked to him privately in the chat about being on my show, and at the time, he didn't know what he could share. So this show has been about a year in the making, and I was very quiet with him until I started seeing him doing some things on his own. And then, so luckily, he could come on, and the timing was just perfect. With Cat Paranormal Experience just recently having on Steve DeShavi, and then finding out that his episode was re-airing again on Travel Channel, made this the perfect timing. And timing. Yeah. Kind of weird. And for those of you listening, this is going to be my last show for 3 weeks. So you better enjoy it and better have some questions. So there will be replays for the last live show. There will be all replays for the next 3 weeks due to Kat's travel and mine. And so you guys enjoy this show. Make sure you ask lots and lots of questions, because I guarantee Keith has got some really interesting things to tell us, because I know I watched the episode, Ron watched it, and it was amazing. So, in fact, right before the show, Keith, Ron said that he felt like it was one of the better shows. Not that most of the Dead File shows are excellent. But yours was one of the stories that it struck a nerve, and not because
I actually heard that.
Right, and it wasn't because we're friends on Facebook that it struck a nerve, or anything like that. Because we had just became friends on Facebook not long before you did the show, and so I didn't know much about you at that time. I didn't know hardly anything about Wymore. I didn't know anything about you and your wife. And so I didn't have a vested interest in you personally at that time. Okay. So it was just really, really odd that the first time I saw the episode, I connected with you right away. I understood how you were feeling because I've lived something similar.
Okay.
So how did you recognize that something was off?
That's kind of a long story. See how short I can make it. Since I was 6 years old, little kid, every house we lived in had paranormal activity of some kind. Continued for pretty much the rest of my life. And it's I just didn't understand why every house that I moved into was haunted. Didn't matter if it was me and my mom moving into a house, or me and my first wife moving into a house, or just me moving into a house. Every single one of them had paranormal activity, and it would it'd start with little things, stuff moving, losing stuff. Well, then stuff flying at you, and it just accelerate and get worse and worse and worse. It would start affecting my relationships. And so I started having, I lived in Beatrice at the time, and I started having paranormal teams come down out of like Lincoln and Omaha to investigate my home to try to figure out what's going on. We'd get, the classic your EVPs, caught my son's bedroom door, the doorknob turning by itself and the door opening. So, we caught evidence that, okay, something is going on. I'm not crazy. There is something happening. Got, proof of it. But nobody knew how to stop it. We couldn't figure out the cause. Eventually, people heard that I had a team come down. They're like, hey, I got this stuff going on. So I'd get a hold of these teams and say, hey, you want to come down and investigate this place over here? Sure. Well, in exchange, I'd get to investigate with them so I could learn. That's the whole point. I was trying to learn what was happening, to me, to those around me. And eventually, I joined a team. And then eventually I broke off and formed my own team, Cobra Paranormal, which we still have. We're still operating. So that's kind of how I got into this. And it was getting pretty bad when I started contacting the Dead Files. And I almost had them here. And then the activity just stopped. Dead in its tracks. Just stopped. Nothing. Dead quiet. So the producers got a hold of me and said, hey, are you still having issues? We got a couple cases over here that, involve children. I'm like, go do those. We're good right now. Everything stopped. Well, as soon as we said that, it started again. The slow to the extreme. So I got back a hold of them. By that time, the producer that I had talked to the first time had got switched to a different show. So I had to start all over. So this was like probably a 4-year process to get them here. By that time, my wife and I had moved down to Wymore. And again, we moved, no activity in the house, and it started gradually increasing, and it got pretty bad. So it was a long fight to get the Dead Files here. And I didn't know why I had to contact them. I just knew it had to be them over any other show. Or, not even, how do I say this? I didn't even care if it was a show. I just wanted help. But I kept getting told, she's the one. She's the one that's going to find it. And she did. They came in, she did her walk. During the reveal is when she figured out the biggest issue. And that was me. She came down the stairs. I was sitting at the table with my wife, and she looked at me with a look of horror on her face. She saw what the issue was, and it was something that was in me. So that's why nobody could find the main issue, because it was hiding in the best possible place that it could hide.
And were you able to follow Amy's advice? And
Absolutely.
So is your house still haunted?
No, I'm not going to say no. However, everything was cleared. The only thing here now are guides, spirit animals, stuff like that. Okay. I got a Fae guardian in the backyard. A lot of people are going to wonder what that is. There's things out there in this world that are kind of interesting. So yeah, I do have things here, but nothing bad.
So
I'm free for
only positive things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
One of the questions we have in chat is from Brenda. She asked, so were the spirits attached to you, or were you just more open to seeing them when you were younger?
Both. I've got some gifts, and they started coming out when I was a child, and didn't like them. So I think I pretty much blocked them out. And then as I was learning about the paranormal, they started coming out again and getting stronger. And this thing that was inside me was getting a little worried and tried to keep me from doing paranormal work, from learning anything. I think it felt that I was getting strong enough to take care of it, and it was trying to keep me from getting free. It didn't want to lose its host.
Kind of reminds me of the Zoltar commercial. Keep him locked in a box. until somebody said freeze old tar.
Right. Okay. I gotcha. Yeah.
And so Brenda asks, elementals. I think when you're talking about your Fey garden.
Yes. Yes, elementals. Yeah.
So, do you think that this dark thing that was in you, that it was in you from early childhood, or it came there at the location you're living in now, or something that just developed over time?
We figured out it was about when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
It was actually when I had my very first paranormal experience.
So basically, it was not hibernating, but let's see, it was. I say the word all the time, and it just suddenly went completely blank. But it was in there, and it was just incubating for the right time.
Yeah, kind of. What happened is, let me set up the rooms here. The house we used to live in, there was my bedroom, then a bathroom, and then my parents' bedroom. So you could go from one bedroom to the other through the bathroom. It had 2 doors. In that bathroom, big closets, a whole wall of closets. The chimney was in there, brick chimney. Went fishing, saw something, not sure what it was, scared the hell out of me. We came home that night. This thing, the closet doors flew open. I was awake because I just went to bed. I wasn't even asleep yet. Closet doors flew open, bricks flew everywhere, and there's this skeleton trying to crawl out of the bricks to get me. I tried screaming for my mom. I couldn't scream. Nothing was coming out. I finally started throwing things. She finally came in, walked right through that thing, didn't see it. Kept telling me there's nothing there, go back to sleep. Being, a little kid, what do? I hide under the covers. It took me a long time to remember this, but I remember, I was afraid of being alone, and I heard you don't have to be alone. And I'm like, I don't? Okay. And boom, there was the deal. It was that easy, quick.
Oh, it is. I mean, all it is you just made an allowance. An agreement, even if it's just as, blinking your eyes and nodding your head a little bit, it's some kind of an agreement. And yes. People don't realize how easy it is to make a deal that may change your life, the route that your life was supposed to take.
It's incredibly easy. Addicts have an especially bad problem with this, or people with fears. Think of an alcoholic. Down to his last dime, doesn't have enough to go down and get a bottle. All of a sudden, this thing, wanders up and says, "Hey, there's this $20 bill over here I can point you to if you let me hitch a ride for a while." And you might not even realize that you do this, but all of a sudden you look over, there's that $20 bill. Guess what? You just made a deal. It can be that easy.
Yeah, because all you have to do is pick it up.
Yeah.
And that was your acceptance. So people don't, like I said, it is easier than you think it is, because all you have to do sometimes is think. We do have a question from Warren Kroom.
Okay. Hi, Warren.
Why do you think the paranormal is drawn to certain objects more than others?
To certain objects?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it could also be people. Why maybe certain people? Then why do you think it was drawn more to you than your wife?
Well, it was already inside me. My wife was also affected by it, and then by everything that was in the home. We finally figured out that I kept moving into haunted houses because what was inside me was drawn to what was already in those homes.
You were haunted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I drew in, entities and spirits because of that. And what was in me used those to also affect us, to cause division, which caused anger, jealousy, fear, which it fed on. So it got stronger. So the stronger it got, the more division it could cause to feed more. It was the perfect storm in a way. But as far as objects, I'm thinking he's thinking like haunted objects. When somebody passes, sometimes they are so attached to, say, their grandma's dresser or a ring or something like that, that they don't want to let it go when they pass. And so they attach to it. That's one way. I hope I'm answering this question correctly.
No, I believe you are. Do you believe in haunted objects?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've dealt with some of them.
Okay. So then, do you think that there are certain objects that are more likely to become haunted than others?
Yeah, probably personal objects, something personal to somebody.
The next question, now that you know that you're haunted or that you were haunted.
Yes.
What do you do now to keep that from occurring again? Because I know that once you're haunted, it is easily enough to happen again.
It is, because when you have something like that removed, when you have an exorcism like that, it's just like an addiction. Your body, your mind gets used to that energy, that negativity, that paranormal, that EMF, the electromagnetic frequencies from this thing. So pulling something out like that is like pulling cocaine away from a cocaine addict. You're going to crave it. You're going to want it back. So it was a very long year after that, to quote, stay clean. I walked away from the paranormal for a while. I've got some very strong protections around my home, in my yard. Cleansings every full moon, every new moon. I go through and smudge. I use copal, Palo Santo, and hang on, mind freeze. Dragon's blood. That will pretty much knock anything out, and then all sage here and there just for S&Gs. But you don't use sage for major things. But so just keeping up on keeping all the negativity out of your home. Keeping your protections charged, and keeping your right mindset. You have to keep your mindset. And that's very difficult, especially where, half your memories are ripped out when this thing is removed from you.
It's probably because they're not your memories anyway.
Well, and that's it, kind of. Yeah, exactly. So my life was a blur all of a sudden. I'm finally getting some of them back. But yeah, I used to be really good at playing the saxophone. I can barely play Mary Had a Little Lamb now.
Well, you know what? This is a good time to stop because we're up on our break. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back with Keith Ottersburg in just a few minutes.
All right. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello, I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello, everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET-FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, Ltd., and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. My guest tonight is Keith Ottersburg, and he is the founder of Cobra Paranormal out of Wymore, Nebraska. He is also was on Dead Files with his wife, and the episode called Till Death. And we've been talking about a lot of different things related to not just the episode, but his personal, his life. And I'm finding it very interesting, and things are, some parallels to a lot of hauntings that I've heard about, but some part of the hauntings that we've survived ourselves in our own home. Mm-hmm. Your wife, one of the things you said on Facebook recently was Steve and Amy saved your marriage.
Saved my life.
Saved your life.
We're still, Shannon and I aren't together right now. She's living in another town. She kind of took a different path. I took a different path. We're both growing. We're friends. We support each other. Still trying to figure out what's going on there.
Okay. Well, that may be the thing that you need to happen. I mean, that may be, being friends is better than being enemies.
Yeah. And, who knows in the future? But right now, we needed to take a break. A lot of damage was done, both sides, mentally and emotionally, that takes time to heal from.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm still essentially learning who I am. And, I got some more healing and some more learning to do. I'm pretty sure she does too. So we'll see what happens.
And do you attribute is this all attributed to the negative paranormal activity that you've lived through?
Yes.
And is counseling an option for you and your wife?
It's possible. I don't really think we're going to need it. I mean, we're able to sit down and talk about anything, which is awesome. A lot of people can't do that. We talk, we listen, we comprehend. We understand what the other one is trying to communicate, And if we don't understand, we stop each other and say, hey, wait, I'm not understanding what you're trying to get through to me. Can you put it in a different way that I'm going to understand? And that's very important, that when two people are discussing, especially things like this, comprehension, you need to understand what the other one went through, what they felt like. It's important. And it's also important not to, a lot of people automatically go on the defense. Okay, you made me feel this way. Well, you did this. Nah, you can't do that. Throw that out the damn window. Excuse my French. You got to be able to communicate. If you can't, you might as well just walk away from it.
I agree. I mean, this may end up saving at least your friendship, if
absolutely.
It doesn't save anything else. I mean, I'm grateful that it saved. Did being on the show enrich your life in any way?
I'm sorry, what? The phone cut out just a little bit.
Being on the show, being on Dead Files, did it enrich your life in any way?
Oh, absolutely. Since I got the help that I got, Amy sent a group called the Spirit Mechanics up from Kentucky. Awesome people. Very extremely talented in their field. My paranormal team got to help and assist when they came up. So they got to learn, some of the processes they use. So when Steve, Holly, Frank, and Tiff came up and did the thing, that's what they call helping, doing the thing. They were impressed with, what I and my team could do, the abilities that we had. So they asked us to be the Nebraska chapter of Spirit Mechanics. So, with teaching and mentoring and learning and studying, we have, my team has come together to be able to go out and help others like they came to help me. I've grown as a person. I've self-reflected on my entire life. I went through my entire life and dissected it, pulled myself out as a third person, and watched this situation, this argument, and sat there and picked it apart. Okay, well, that argument wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have done this, and then I realized, okay, wait, I attached an emotion to this event. Now I understand it. Now I can remove that emotion, give it to the universe. Now I've got just a memory that doesn't hit me like a hammer. I can think about it. I can look at it. Okay, yeah, got that. Did that through my whole life. It took a long time to do, but it really helped me grow as a person.
Well, I'm glad that it was a positive experience for you.
Absolutely.
Because for a lot of people, being on an episode of any show is questionable as to whether or not it was good for them. Because people ask me that same question, was it good for me to be on the show? And it's like, well, yeah, because if it wasn't for the show, a lot of people, I wouldn't have met a lot of people if it hadn't been for that show. See,
that right there. If it wouldn't have been for them coming, I wouldn't have met the people I did. I wouldn't have been able to help the people I've helped. When you stop and think about what had to happen, from way back for this to come to fruition, it'll blow your mind. Right. One thing changed could have changed my outcome. I might not be here anymore.
There is, I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
There was probably, because your mind went straight to, I need Amy and Steve.
Yeah.
It did not go to Zach or Nick or any of these other people.
Not at all.
It went to the team that we're watching on TV. We're all watching and going, this is the team that's really out there helping people.
Yeah. And
constantly for 11 years or more. Yeah. I don't even remember if it was 11 or more. And, so, right. If I was to say, if I felt like I needed help, I would contact them before I would contact anyone else at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Back in the day, 10, 11 years ago, maybe 12, I probably would have said, I think I need Paranormal State, because that was the time.
Right.
That they were the ones out helping people.
And at the time, I really wasn't even really watching the paranormal shows, any of them.
Right.
I hadn't found that aspect yet. One night I was just bored at home flipping channels, and all of a sudden there's Amy on the screen. I'm like, whoa, wait, I need to talk to her. It was just that quick.
She has been to so many places that, that people don't realize the amount of places she's been. You guys people only see where she's been on TV. Right. There's places that she was before that.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody goes, hey, is Amy going to come to the Sally house? I said, why would she? She was here in 2008. And they go, well, why was she here? I said, she did an event here with a whole bunch of other mediums and psychics. And I said, that would go against their show philosophy of her not going into places that she's already been.
Right.
So, and if you talk to people who know, like I said, I have a whole list of mediums and psychics that went into that house for public reasons. And when they contacted me and said, hey, we'd like for you to talk to the Dead Files about the Sally house. And I was like, well, that's kind of going against everything.
Right. Yeah.
They never contacted me because it's a public location. Why? Yeah. It's, I said, unless they're going to contact me about the fact that I'm being attacked, that's the only thing. And I said, wouldn't I be the one that would need to contact them to say, hey, I need help because I'm being attacked?
Right.
So I thought it was weird.
They want to help people.
Right.
The Sally House is an event house. They're more out to help the everyday people who don't understand what's going on.
Right. Like I said, it would have been different should I had contacted them and said, hey, this is what's happening. I'm bringing stuff home with me, which I did.
Yeah. Right.
But there was a reason that I was there, and that's a show about me, and we're not going to talk about that. But there's a reason that you focused in on them, and that was because you knew that was where you were going to get help. Yeah. And Warren asks, Warren said he just sent you an episode of Ghost Adventures, and it was weird. Yeah, there are some weird episodes of Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
And Tom McNicholas asks, are you part of any paranormal team now? And you are part of Cobra Paranormal, your own paranormal team.
Yes. And
how often do you guys investigate?
Whenever we're needed. We just recently did a case in Barnston, here pretty close to Wymore. Recently I went down to Florida, helped a family out down there. So it's just as they come up. A lot of times we can help people remotely, like if they live far away, we can remote in and take care of things that way. So it's hard to say. Business really kind of picks up around this time of year. You know why? The veil's getting thinner. So I do a lot of helping people individually, every day, just on in random Facebook conversations. I'm on my phone 24/7, with clients and friends and family. I've got this happening. Why? Well, let's take a look at this. What's going on? It takes a lot of conversation to get down to the root cause of, why this paper flew off the table. Your clients, once you help them, there's aftercare. You always want to stay with your clients, because there can be, residual that might, sneak out a little bit. So we got to calm that down a little bit. They may need help, just as a person, understanding, getting used to not having anything happen anymore. It gets to be the normal, and then you take the normal away and you got something new, and that change is hard for people. So, aftercare is just as important for paranormal clients as it is for, alcoholics or what have you.
Have you ever had a team contact you and they crossed the line, that they lied? I mean, I'm just going to start right out. They lied to get you to come out.
No.
Okay. Because I mean, I'm seeing that more and more, where they are wanting the attention. Maybe they didn't lie. Maybe they are mentally unstable and they just want the attention.
Okay. I see what you're getting at.
That they're hearing things that nobody else can. Yeah. I mean, we've had people contact us and the first thing they're looking for is, where's the cameras and stuff. They assume because I was on TV that there's going to be a show involved.
Okay. Yeah, no, that hasn't happened. Everybody knows, that I don't, we're just here to help. We don't have a show or what have you. And the way we do it, if you want us to come in and do a regular investigation and get evidence, great. We can do that. We'll present the evidence to you, and then we can decide how you want to, progress. Other people, okay, we know we got issues. They just want us to come in and do the thing and clean everything up.
Okay.
And I'm pretty picky.
That's how I look at it.
The cases I take, there's a lot of homework involved, a lot of discussion, to make sure there is something. The vetting system of the dead files is crazy. They've got to be so careful, because of that. People just want to get on a show instead of people, actually wanting help and needing help.
Oh yeah, because I've seen some on recently, the one on Ghost Adventures. They had the people in Amarillo, and if they had just looked up some information on the family in Amarillo, they would have found that they were in trouble with the police often.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
It didn't take much to find that the woman was always getting on the news for something. I mean, like I said, I'm sitting there going, there's something about these people, and I just get on my phone and I look and I find like 6 different things that she'd been on the news for.
Right.
And I'm like, this is just wrong. This is just wrong. And did they not do their homework? And the thing is they decided to do this house over some other house. So it was horrible. But
right.
And she scratched her own kid, Yeah. So I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. So they ended up getting Department of Family Services involved at some point because of all that stuff. But that was a whole other thing. So it was horrible. Do you have any events coming up that you're going to be involved in?
Actually, yes. I just started helping a business called, hang on one second. My brain isn't functioning right now. Sometimes I got to take breaks and figure out how to get my words out. I was in a car accident, so I've got damage. And sometimes my memory fails me.
Well, you can always come back to it when you remember it. It's not a big deal. And so what was the best part about having the dead files at your house?
The best part about having them here?
Yeah.
Probably just the fact that they came, I was finally getting the help. It was, the world lifted off my shoulders. Somebody finally didn't think I was crazy, didn't think I was nuts, didn't think I was lying. Some of the teams that came down, and I was actually accused of this after the show came out. Okay, when this team came down, they didn't find anything negative or nasty. Okay, sorry, the stuff happens. But we finally figured out why, and that's because it was hiding in me. So when they came down, guess what didn't come out? But yeah, I was accused of doing the show for money and fame and fortune. And I lied about this and I lied about that. And, none of that was true. I've proven it over and over and over. And I finally just said, you know what? I give up. You think what you want to think, walk away. It's okay to let toxic people, walk away. Keeps that toxicity from coming back into me.
Well, that wasn't the answer I was expecting. I thought you were going to say, "Oh, it was watching the Steelers game with Steve."
Well, that was a pretty dang good thing too.
I was going to say, because that's more personal.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome experience.
Because I tell people the personal things that happened with Ghost Adventures that never made TV.
Right.
That's my memory. That's nobody else can say that it didn't happen or anything like that. They didn't see it. So that's my personal memory. And no matter how much people think that these people might be not very nice people, they were very nice people. Absolutely. Off the air. But they can be not very nice people, period. But I was always treated nice. So, but I don't doubt that these other people weren't treated nice. Okay. So we'll just go with that. But you know what? We're on our next break.
Okay.
So everyone, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We're talking to Keith Ottersburg, and we will be back in just a few minutes. So get your questions ready, and I will make sure I ask them.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama. Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Abnormal Alabama presents Crypticon October 25th and 26th at the Port of the Wharf, Orange Beach. Bigfoot, the paranormal, authors and speakers, vendors, and your chance to experience the Psychomantium. There'll be a costume contest and much, much more. October 25th and 26th at the Port of the Wharf, Orange Beach. Get more info, directions, and tickets available now at abnormalalabama.com. That's abnormalalabama.com.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Keith Ottersburg, and we have been having a lovely conversation about all kinds of things. So we're going to go to some paranormal equipment type stuff now. So when you do your investigations, what type of equipment do you use?
My go-to is always my voice recorder. You can get so much figured out, from EVPs. A lot of times you'll get direct answers. So we'll do, 5-minute EVP burst sessions. Ask questions for 5 minutes, stop, play it back, see what we get. That way we know if we're on the right track. We'll get names. Once we get named, we can go back through, the property's history, figure out, okay, yeah, that's a real person. So that's my main go-to. We have a 16 channel DVR. So we can run 16 cameras at a time. I have one of the few working ghost arcs. So that's a multi-tool. It's got an EMF meter. It's got a spirit box in it, some other things. So that's real handy for checking wiring, checking the EMF coming out of appliances, breaker boxes, etc. I've got a portal and a ghost spirit box that we use. That's always very handy. But most of the time we go in just, if we're just going to go in and cleanse a place, I'll take my voice recorder, but we just go in and do the thing. We don't take any equipment. We just use, what we got, our gifts.
That's, when you were talking earlier about when you go in and the only thing that you do, if the guest or the client only wants their house cleared, if that's what they ask for, that's what we do. Yeah. I'm of the same belief of that, because I believe that if they live there, the last thing they want is a paranormal investigator coming in there and poking at the spirits, making it worse.
Right. Exactly.
Because they have to live there. We get to go home.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of teams do. They'll go in, they'll stir things up, they'll antagonize, throw a little sage around, which ticks them off, and then they leave. And everybody wonders why the activity ramped up. It's aggravating at times, but
it's irresponsible.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, they don't have to live there. They get to go home to their nice cozy bed and their unhaunted location. Right. The people have to live there. And so we do have in one of our chats, Sharon Taft Brunner says, Keith and his team are awesome, and they really helped us out a lot. Plus, is it true that you used to get used to the noises when they're gone, it's hard to get used to them not being there?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Sharon.
She says they're the family you helped in Barnston.
Yes, they are. I wasn't going to say that without, anybody's permission. Wonderful people. And I got to throw something out. A lot of times the people we help become very, very good friends. Dare I say, like family. It's that kind of connection. We went there and we were there for, I don't know how long. But when we go in, we're there for the duration. If it takes 10 hours to do this, we're there for 10 hours. It doesn't matter. Once we go in, we're not leaving till it's done. And if by chance we miss something, that's always possible. We'll go back, not a problem. But yeah, once the bumps in the night are gone, once the fist slamming on the door when you're just going to sleep is gone, once your mattress being picked up, with you on it is gone, it's weird because you're expecting it. You're sitting there waiting for it to happen. So you're driving yourself insane waiting for it, and it never comes. It takes a long time to get used to it.
Yeah. And that, I know that it gets different. I mean, it's like when you move from the city to the country.
Yeah.
It when it happens, you're like all confused as to why. For us, it's when they move the baby cows away from the mama cows. It's loud as heck here when they do that, and you can't sleep because all you hear all night is the whining of the mamas and the babies.
Right.
So in any other time, it's fine. Don't notice it. But when they do that, it's one change and everything's different. So right. I understand about that. Gary asks, what type of recorder do you use?
I've got a Sony PX333. They actually don't make these anymore, I don't believe. So the last couple of them I've had to get off of eBay. They're getting harder to find. But I love the way it works. People go out and buy, the expensive, $500 recorders with the special mics and everything. And personally, I think this gets better EVPs than those things does.
Well, I know the Zooms are nice, and there's no doubt that they're nice. They're recording, music recording quality. But I'll tell you, the best thing so far for me for EVPs, this computer that we're doing this show on.
Okay.
Because of the fact that I have a mouse fart mic.
Ah.
You can hear a mouse fart across the room on this. And I don't use that mic for the show because then you would hear everything. Right. So even though right now most everybody is probably hearing my grandson throwing a temper tantrum in the background. But but that's normal life. So
absolutely.
Is your Sony PX33 333 does that have a USB cord?
Yes.
Perfect. So do you use Audacity to review your recordings?
Absolutely.
So
yep, love that program.
How often do you get EVPs?
Every time we go out, we get something.
Do you think there is a reason why it's every time you get something? Is it one of you on your team draws the spirits in to where they decide that they need to speak up?
A lot of us do. It's like, oh, you can see me. You can hear me. Oh, we're going to talk to you. We've been lonely. Let's talk.
Okay. Well, because I always wonder about that because at this point, I've only gotten a couple EVPs in this whole time. Okay. And I know, of course, to be honest, I didn't really try very hard for a long time because when I did try, I got nothing. I have two digital recorders. I have a Sony and an Olympus, and the Olympus is a pain because I have to take everything that I tape on the Olympus and transfer it to the Sony so that I can get it to my computer so I can So yeah. So it's a pain. And now that I can do it right. Now that I can do it directly on my computer straight through Audacity, it is a lot easier. We haven't had enough investigations with it to really test it out. But Malvern is going to be one of those places where we do that.
We've got some pretty good ones from Malvern.
Oh, well, this is going to be our fourth trip to Malvern coming up. And
the girl in the hallway where the stairs are, tell her I said hello.
Okay. Well, the main thing is getting the history right in that place, because, there's some, I'm not going to go into it because I'm a big history person. I like valid history, but we're going to do some things there. We actually have some really good people that are going to be coming with us. And I've asked them not to share the date that we're going to be there for obvious reasons. But, we're going to have Cheryl Ann there.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And,
love
and
her.
Needless to say, since she didn't get killed, we thought we'd have her come back.
There you go.
So I think this time will be much better than the last time that she was invited to come there. And and she and I have been very close without ever meeting each other personally.
You're gonna love the hell out of her.
Oh, like I said, we've talked for years.
Yeah.
The last 4 years we've talked a lot. It's time that we get together, and having a professional medium with us, and then me, it is probably going to be an amazing visit for all of us that's going to be there. And
she's amazingly talented.
Oh, what? Doesn't matter if we just sit there and talk all night. I'm going to be happy as pie.
There you go. Yep.
So, but we plan on doing some experiments there, and hopefully, I would say count on that day for it to snow in Malvern.
Okay.
I guarantee that day in November, it's going to be calling for something like 40 something, and it's going to snow instead.
Probably.
Every time we go up there, except for the July visit, and then Josh was still looking for snow because they're not even calling for snow when we go up there, and every time it snows. Yeah. So, but that day we went in July, it was 110, so it was really horrible in the attic. So. It gets hot up there. So, how many? Brenda asked me. So, how many mice farting do I listen to? Actually, Brenda, what it was is I had this mic that I have. If I whispered or Ron would whisper on the other side of the room, you could hear it. And I know Kat remembers this because it was like 4 years ago when I first started doing these shows. You could hear everything. Ron's chair would make a noise, and there would be people would make fun of it. You could hear our cats snoring in the room. You could hear all of that stuff through the mic. So that's the reason why I don't use the mic on the computer anymore, because of the fact that it's way too multi-directional. Yeah. We'll go with that. Multi-directional. I need unidirectional.
There you go. And when you're doing EVP sessions, it's very important to tag noises. Say you moved your foot, that was me. Your stomach growled, that was me. Stomach growling can sound so demonic and sound like words. It's crazy. So it's very important to tag.
And sometimes, there are scratching, it sounds scratchy, and somebody's going to go, that wasn't my stomach. And you're sitting there going, I could have swore I heard that out loud.
Right.
And so I think it's best that people own it. And if you do something, if you pass gas, just own it, and we'll all giggle and we'll move on.
It was me.
I mean, because what's the most commonly eaten food before a paranormal investigation?
Mexican.
Yep. What are we having? We're having chili cheese hot dogs. So close enough.
There you go.
So,
close enough.
Or pizza. All so we know how this goes. So I don't know. What is is Cobra Paranormal on Facebook?
Absolutely.
Okay, and it's COBRA Paranormal. So guys, go out there and find that on Facebook so you can like it. And
actually, I can put a link right in the chat, if that's all right.
Please do. And everyone, we're coming up on our top of the hour news break. So please get your questions out there in the chat, and we'll get those questions asked and answered, because Keith is an open book. He's already told us stuff that I didn't think he'd tell us. So this is good. He's an open book. And you're all listening to WBHM-DB.com out of Birmingham, Alabama. We are having a great time here tonight with Keith Ottersburg, and make sure you come back so that we can have a great time with you too. And I wanted to talk to you guys when we come back about some things that are coming up for me and Ron as well, so that you guys will know what's going on. So thank you, and come back in a few minutes.
No justification. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That theme at a briefing just held by city officials and police in Fort Worth, Texas, after the weekend shooting of a woman in her home.
Fort Worth Mayor Betsy Price and Police Chief Ed Krause are both apologizing for the officer-involved shooting death of a Tatiana Jefferson,
who was unjustly taken from her family.
And I certainly have not been able to make sense of why she had to lose her life.
Jefferson's home was the subject of a welfare check when an officer, unannounced, opened fire into a window early Saturday. A gun was found inside the home, though multiple investigations are underway, including a possible criminal case against the officer, who Chief Krause says would have been fired had he not resigned first. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The woman's family is demanding an independent investigation. The Fort Worth mayor says a third-party panel will be involved. President Trump warning Turkey that big sanctions are coming over its military offensive in Syria.
The president continues to defend his decision to pull U.S. forces away from the border between Syria and Turkey, again going to the well about how the United States cannot continue to fight and be involved in endless wars.
Fox's John Roberts at the White House. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has been critical of the president's decision, meeting with him today to talk about possible coordination with congressional sanctions on Turkey. This as the fighting and fleeing continue. Fox's Steve Harrigan is in northeast Syria.
Many people here, especially in bombed-out hospitals, saying the world is not giving us the attention and help that we need.
Where is the United Nations? Let them come to see the blood of our children on the floor.
The number of people fleeing has gone up every day. The UN reporting now that 130,000 people have left their homes trying to get away from the fighting.
America is listening to Fox News.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's the problem growing businesses have because of a hodgepodge of business systems. One for accounting, another for sales, another for inventory. If that's you, you know it's a mess that takes up too much time and too many resources. And that hurts the bottom line. You need NetSuite by Oracle, the cloud-based business management software that gives you the visibility and control you need to grow. With NetSuite, you save time, money, and unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance and accounting, orders, and HR instantly from your desktop or phone. That's why NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. Companies that use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500. And right now, NetSuite is offering you valuable insights with a free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox to download your free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits. netsuite.com/Fox.
More closed-door testimony in the impeachment probe underway. The former Russia expert for the White House National Security Council, Fiona Hill, expected to answer questions from 3 House committees about events leading up to the president's phone call with Ukraine's leader, including the removal of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. And this week, the former ambassador to the European Union is also set to appear before the committees, rejecting the State Department's earlier guidance not to testify. But those panels may not end up hearing from the whistleblower.
House Intelligence Committee Chairman Democrat Adam Schiff says a whistleblower's testimony may not be necessary, telling CBS Face the Nation the individual's personal safety is the panel's primary interest.
Given that we already have the call record, we don't need the whistleblower who wasn't on the call to tell us what took place during the call. We have the best evidence of that.
President Trump tweeted this morning that the whistleblower must testify to explain why he got my Ukraine conversation so wrong, not even close. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
A change already made by some school districts around the country and still being considered in others goes statewide. In California.
First period bell is going to be ringing a little later at schools in California, now the first state to require schools start 8 a.m. or later for middle schools and 8:30 a.m. or later for high schools. Legislation signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom Sunday, inspired by research showing teens are healthier and perform better when school starts later. Public school districts have 3 years to comply, and there are exemptions, such as rural school districts. Critics complain the changes would disrupt family schedules or present challenges for school districts. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
An hour to the close on Wall Street. Stocks remain mixed overall. The Dow is now down about 12 points, make that 14. The S&P also slightly lower, and the NASDAQ now edging down a fraction. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
This news report is brought to you by NetSuite by Oracle, the cloud-based business management software that gives you the visibility and control you need to grow. NetSuite is offering their free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/Fox.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. Excuse me. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Keith Ottersburg, and we've been talking about all kinds of very interesting things. Hopefully you guys will find it interesting as well. And Brenda asks, what's the accent, Keith? And because she's been trying to remember where you're from.
Okay, Wymore, Nebraska. It's about 13 miles south of Beatrice, and Beatrice is about 40 miles south of Lincoln, the capital. So we're right by the state line.
So there you go, southern Nebraska, southern central Nebraska at that, right? Or is it southern east?
It's southern east.
Okay, so it's an interesting area, to say the least. And Missy Lynn asked, do you mind if she adds some family members to your page?
No, go ahead.
Go for it, Missy Lynn.
Absolutely.
And Missy Lynn says it's one big family. They loved every minute of you helping them out, and it's expanded. It's also expanded our family. Now she has you.
Absolutely.
So you have made a huge impression upon the family out there in Barnston, Nebraska.
She's gonna make me water my cheeks yet.
Well, you can't have anything better than that than being called family.
I hear you. It gets you right in the feels. Thank you. That made my night.
And let's see. When I asked you earlier about upcoming events, do you remember what the upcoming event was that you're working on?
I've recently started helping a business called Haunted Rooms America. I've got links to them on my Cobra Paranormal page. What we do is we go around to different haunted locations. There's a brief history, and then we conduct a group investigation. We go through and teach about the equipment that we use, give everybody a chance to use it, do some investigating. So it's a big learning experience. Everybody wants to go on investigation. This would be the perfect avenue to do that. So I'm very lucky that I got invited to start helping with that.
And where are these locations at that Haunted Rooms is going to be at?
We just did one at the Vail Mansion in Missouri.
Independence, Missouri, to be exact,
yes,
everyone.
Thank you. Trying to think of what upcoming. They go to Yorktown Hospital, places in Texas, just all kinds of popular locations.
Well, hopefully, though, some of those places will become more popular. The Vail Mansion hadn't really done any paranormal investigative tours until recently, and
they just started.
Well, honestly, I'm going to tell you a little story here.
Okay.
I went in there over 25 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I asked them about the woman that I saw upstairs. And she said, there's no hauntings here.
Yes, there is.
And she kept telling me that there was nothing there. So it didn't matter what I had to say. They didn't want anything to do with it. Right. So at the time, like I said, 25 years ago, what was going on 25 years ago? Mostly denial.
Yeah.
In the paranormal. So, but there's another location that's recently going to be on TV, and I stayed there probably 8 or 9 years ago. And when I checked in, I said, yeah, I'd like to stay in one of your haunted rooms. And the lady goes, this place isn't haunted. Who told you that? I said, well, Troy Taylor wrote about it in his book about the original Springs Hotel being haunted. And I said, it's in haunted Illinois. And she goes, it's not haunted. She goes, I don't know. She goes, you've been lied to. And I was like, okay, well, it's in multiple books. I said, I don't know why they would lie.
Right.
And now here it's going to be on TV this week.
Yeah. They finally do it. And...
Yeah. And when I said something on the page about it, they go, well, it's always been haunted. I said, well, then tell the person who checked me in 8 years ago in July. I said, I know it was in July, right? Because I hurt my back, and the reason we stayed was because I wanted to use the spa.
Okay.
During the week. And
sure.
So I went and we left a recorder in our room, and it captured papers being shuffled in their room. Okay. And it was me and two of my daughters. And when we were sleeping that night, all you heard was somebody going through a drawer all night shuffling papers. So when we got up the next morning, we looked through all the drawers, and there wasn't even a Bible in the room. So there was no way it could have been shuffling papers in the room all night.
Right.
So the woman got all defensive. I said, I'm not saying that it's not haunted. I'm just saying that the woman who checked me in said it wasn't haunted. I said, I had all kinds of activity in the room. It had nothing to do with that, you know? And so I said, I just thought it was odd that all of a sudden you guys are embracing your haunted past when before you wanted nothing to do with it. So
maybe $1 can be made.
Well, that's the thing. This place their room rates double on weekends. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of weird. And there's nothing to do in Oakville. So it's kind of an interesting place to go. They have a really good Dairy Queen. So we stop there a lot. But other than that, that's the only thing I can remember about the whole town is this hotel and a Dairy Queen.
There you go. That works.
It'll be interesting to see what they get here coming up with all these new shows. Well, not new, but they are kind of new coming out. Are you watching any of these paranormal dramas?
Actually, I'm not. I don't even have cable. I got Netflix, but I watched maybe 15 minutes of TV on my lunch hour. On Netflix, I'll binge watch a series for a while. But other than that, I really don't watch TV. I've got too much going on. I got too many people I'm helping. I don't have time.
Well, that's good. I work from home, so needless to say, I have to be at home to work. So I get to watch it. Well, I get to listen to a lot of stuff.
Right. I've heard some horror stories about some of the new shows coming out.
I have an opinion. I have an opinion, but I'm not going to share. I want everybody to get their own opinion.
Exactly.
And once they see it, right. Once they have their opinion, we'll talk off air.
There you go.
Because I don't want to say something, because I have nothing against any of the people. I have more things against the way that they're investigating.
Yeah. And, the producers of the show have a lot to do with that. They really do.
Yes, they do. And sometimes the people don't know what the producer is doing off camera.
Right.
So, and reality TV is more staged than people believe.
Oh, absolutely. However, I can say this from personal experience. The producers, the camera crews of the Dead Files are amazing people. The only thing they wanted was the truth. What we were going through, what was happening to us, what we wanted to do. We weren't asked to say anything. Nothing was scripted. It was, here it is.
Perfect.
So I'm very.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. That reminds me. You asked a question earlier, and I went off on a tangent instead of saying my favorite memory was me and Steve watching the Steelers game. I did think of something just now. Okay. Twice. He's probably going to shoot me for saying this, but twice we were filming. Once in the basement and once in the garage. In the basement, I got scratched right as we were filming, and it kind of just froze the camera crew. They were like, "What's going on?" And then we were out in the garage. Stuff started getting thrown, and these camera guys, they just froze because they're not used to the activity happening when they're there. Right. And I laugh. I'm like, "Come on, guys. This happens all the time. Let's go. Let's roll. Come on. I'm on a tangent. I'm on a roll. Let's go." And even Steve was like, "What the blank was that?" Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I'm always surprised when he does an interview and it's not colorful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I know I've heard other interviews on other networks that are bleeping fantastic.
Yes.
So, and we don't have a bleep button. So at least not one that's easily, Kat has to go in and manually bleep it. So we don't want to do that. So
being very careful with my tonight.
With your bleeping, yes. Be very careful with that.
Yes.
Missy Lynn says Keith has some really neat projects going. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your serial killer project.
Okay, that is something we're just starting to get into. That is with somebody by the name of Lorelei Berger, good friend of mine. She lives in Chicago, right by the John Wayne Gacy house. She was actually the first person to be able to go in and investigate the John Wayne Gacy house, which kind of ticked off another TV personality, but we won't get into that. So what we're doing is we're going to be doing some experiments having to do with the serial killers. Not going to give everything away yet. Working on some timing, but hopefully we're going to come up with some pretty good stuff for everybody. We're trying some new things. Hopefully we can get some new evidence and maybe some answers to some unasked questions. And I was lucky enough and honored enough, for her to ask me to help her. So I'm very proud of that. I thank her. Absolutely.
Well, I can't wait to hear how the project turns out. So
some of the time we're going to be going live from her pages. I've got another page called Live from the Otter's Den. I've actually got a little show I do once in a while when I can get some guests on. I've got some awesome people wanting to come on. So some of the times we're going to be doing some of the stuff from there or maybe from both. So we got dual live feeds.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And one of the things is Lorelei's got a very open house. Anything is allowed to come through. Any spirit that wants to come through can come through. My house is shut down. All negative has to stay out. Now, if there's a random spirit walking through town that needs help, if it's a good spirit, they can come in and say, "Hey, I need some help." But otherwise, it's pretty freaking locked down. So that's one of the experiments we want to do is find out the difference in activity between her house and my house while doing the same process. If that makes sense.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see how it all turns out and hear some more about that. And what was that page again?
Oh, it is the Serial Killers Experiments.
Okay. So,
and then we've got, go ahead.
That would be, that way people can go out there and check it out because I know there's a lot of people that are into serial killers.
Oh, absolutely. She's got that page. She's got a page called the Gacy Files. She's an incredible individual.
Yeah, I've been friends with her off and on Facebook, off and on multiple times. She'll make friends with me one day and then decide, nope, I'm done. And she'll change her page or something happens. I have no clue what happens with her. So I just kind of let it be because I know that she's coming back. I just don't know when.
Oh, yeah.
So I just kind of leave it as it is. But everyone, we're on our break. So you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back in a few minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Several U.S. presidents are on record talking about the UFO mystery.
Yeah, Presidents Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan both had UFO sightings of their own, but the current presidential campaign might be the first in which UFO disclosure has been championed by a major party candidate.
DIA, CIA, it moves around, is operating a program to train psychic spies to spy and use their powers against Russia. John Ronson writes about this in The Men Who Stare at Goats.
The first known sighting of a ghost took place right after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in the late 1860s during the administration of Ulysses Grant.
Project Paperclip, Clinton releases it all in 1998.
Possibly the unequal cooling of its surface.
I say, do you still think it's a meteor, Professor?
I don't know what to think. The metal casing is definitely extraterrestrial.
It's a place where UFO hunters and scientists gather to examine paranormal activity in the region.
Some of the documents, this is bringing Nazi scientists into the United States to work here. So we fought against the Nazis, and it's not, this again is not a revelation. As early as 1947, 1946, we knew some of this, right?
On the paranormal, will we see U.S. President Barack Obama's foreign policy go intergalactic in a quest for gold stolen by aliens? We'll tell you at least how the White House responded to claims the chief executive has been teleporting to Mars. But let's get to today's Capitol account.
UFOs, hauntings, psychic abilities, conspiracy, ESP, cryptozoology. There are many things that remain unexplained in the inexplicable world around us, and we're talking about them here, looking for answers on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama. The truth is out there.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I've got my guest on tonight. His name is Keith Ottersburg, and we have been talking all things paranormal. And hopefully you guys have some questions to ask him, because I'm going to run out of them soon, but I've got a lot, so it's not going to run out too quickly. But if you guys have any questions, this is a good time to ask them, because, you know, we only have one more break. And so Tom says Ghost Adventures just did a show about Gacy, also went to the Joliet jail that Tom had investigated. Tom Nicholas was actually helping out with the tours at the Joliet jail.
Okay.
Before they stopped doing the paranormal tours.
Heard about that episode. Somebody sent it to me. I watched about 5 minutes of it, and I had to shut it off. I didn't even get to anything about the Gacy place, and I had to shut it off.
I don't blame you. Brenda asked, does Keith have a paranormal bucket list, and what is number one on that list?
The team does kind of have a bucket list. Lisa's actually, I think Lisa is in charge of keeping the bucket list. So if she's still listening, maybe she could throw a few of them out, because my memory is toast. The main thing we do is help individual private cases. But we will go out, every once in a while to, a public event, to get some practice in. We're going to want to get the team to the Stevenson building here in Wymore. Awesome place, a lot of activity. Want to get back up to Malvern sometime. Probably want to get to the Squirrel Cage jail.
Have you ever been there before?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, we talked about going up there this past weekend, and no, we didn't make it.
Yeah, a friend of mine from Bear Live Paranormal Productions, Christy, she helps run that place sometimes. She said it's a very, very neat place, so I do definitely want to get into that.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about it, but most of the stuff I heard was from really old TV shows, nothing recent. So, Sharon asks if you could talk about residual effects.
Yeah. When you've got negative activity happening to you and in your home for so long, think of it like a smoker. He smokes in his house. He smokes 2 packs a day. What happens to that smoke? It gets embedded into the walls, the paint, the woodwork. It just gets embedded, and it takes a long time to get that back out. Your negativity and your negative energy is the same way. You are constantly putting out negativity by your vibrations, your words, what you do. You slam your fist into the wall. Guess what? That's an imprint. It can take a long time for that to unabsorb from that home. So cleansing that home, smudging it, keeping that negativity out, sweeping, taking a broom and going through the act of sweeping it all out the door. It's very important because it will start to seep out, and you can feel it at times. And at times, if there's enough, it can actually, and a lot of people probably aren't going to believe this, but it can actually become another entity. So then that has to be removed as well. That's another reason why I'm pressing so hard on aftercare. When teams go in and help somebody, aftercare, you can't just walk away from them.
Right. And leave them to their own devices. They could actually end up making it worse.
Oh, absolutely. Because if you remove an attachment from a person, they're going to crave something. And if they screw up and invite something back in, it could be something worse.
It could be. And, it going away for a little bit may just be recharging.
Right.
So kind of like the flashlight trick. It's just recharging so it can come back on. So Missy Lynn, she said that you guys have the Klondike Hotel on your roster.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Thank you.
And that she says that she plans on putting Edinburgh Manor on the radar too. And I told her it's on ours as well, because we just found out that Ron's cousin lives like 5 minutes from there.
Okay, and that is in which town again? Is that in Missouri also?
Scotch Grove. Scotch Grove, Iowa.
Okay. There's a place in
north of Iowa City.
There's a place in St. Joe, Missouri. I can't remember the name of it. I know what it is.
Start with a B?
Might.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's a personal preference.
Understand.
And then she also asks, Missy Lynn asks, what is your most memorable investigation and why?
That's a good question, because they're all memorable for some reason or another.
Oh, yeah. But you have to have one that's most.
Probably the Burwood Hotel in Beatrice. We were the first people to investigate that place, and it was off the hook active. Full-bodied apparitions, disembodied voices. And when I was going through the voice recordings, something really hit me, and hit me hard. These spirits were in this apartment building going about their normal everyday life, just like they hadn't passed away. And they were actually asking questions. Did you hear that? Did you see that? So it's like we were haunting them. To them, it was like we were the ghosts. We were the spirits.
That sounds like the movie The Others.
Yeah, it was a complete reversal. I mean, it hit me so hard I had tears that day when I was going over that evidence. And, it really makes you think about what happens when you pass.
It does. Is it just another dimension parallel to this one, and we just keep on going?
Oh, it'll blow your mind. I mean, there's so many tangents I've went off on thinking about that. It'd take days to get through them all.
Oh, I know. You know, somebody asked me how many investigations have we been on, and I said, well, over 500. And they're like, what? I go, yeah, well, over 500. Because you figure every time we went to the Sally house, it was an investigation.
Right.
And, you know, it wasn't like we were just walking in and sitting down on the sofa and just going, read the signs on the wall like they used to do. It was always, we were investigating with whoever was there, you know, taking them through and making sure that everybody who came in hopefully had something that they could take with them home that said that they had a paranormal experience. Same as when we go to McPike Mansion. You know, we try to help people have a paranormal experience, their own personal paranormal experience, not be part of our paranormal experience, have them have their own. And that is a huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and because when you go to a public location, you assume, you assume that it's haunted, that something's going to happen. What people don't realize is when you go to a haunted location and you're already in your mindset that this place is haunted, whether you believe it or not, you're already saying this place is haunted.
Sure.
Okay. Not only are the spirits that are there going to make themselves known, the spirits that came with you and everyone else may make themselves known as well.
Absolutely.
There doesn't have to be a portal in a location for my spirits to pop out at McPike Mansion.
Right.
While your spirits are right next to mine popping out at the same time. Because you couldn't, I can tell you there's been times where we're at McPike Mansion, we don't experience any other spirits except our own.
Right. Yeah. Your guides and your protectors.
Or just family that said, hey, you're here, so we know you're open, we know you're listening, here's what we need to say.
Absolutely. And you can go into a place and nothing might happen. But you go the next day and it's off the hook with, busy with activity. They need energy to manifest. If you have a public investigation one night and they use up all that energy, it takes them a while to pull that energy back in. Some of them, they're human spirits. They've still got their intelligence. They've still got their feelings. They're not, they might not want to act on cue, the TV shows, they don't tell you how long they've been in this place to get, the 5 EVPs that they put out, in the show. They might have been there for 2 or 3 days before they even get anything. So that's something you got to keep in mind too.
Some, like when Ghost Adventures went to the Sally house, they got there on Sunday, they left on Friday morning.
Right.
So I know when they got there and when they left. I also know that they had multiple thunderstorms while they were there and a tornado warning.
Yeah.
Does that happen all the time? No, but the way they portray it on TV, oh, we're here, so it's happening. No, this is Kansas. It happens all the darn time.
Absolutely. We're in Tornado Alley. Same up here with Nebraska,
Yeah. Now, see, that right there, when you said that, you sounded like you were from Minnesota. So there you go. Missy Lynn. Yeah. Hey, where's your toque? Missy Lynn asked about the Burwood bats.
Oh, the bat. Yes, we got we kind of got run out of the building by a bat.
Oh. Did you name the bats?
Oh, we named the bat a lot of things, but nothing I can say on the air.
Oh, okay. Because we named the one at McPike Mansion Igor.
It kind of startled us a little bit, and it took us a little bit to figure out what the heck it was, and we finally saw it on the cameras. And we told the owner the next day, man, you got bats in here. He's like, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah, you do. We got it on video. So yeah, that was an interesting situation.
Oh, and well, we had one time there was 2 bats at McPike Mansion, and one landed on Ron's leg when he had on shorts. And of course, you have all these women yelling. It's like it's a little bitty. Well, it's a big wine cellar, but as far as with this many people in it, it's small. And Sharon is. You don't even kill a spider, even if the spider's as big as your head. You don't kill it.
Right.
And so she's telling people, don't swing your arms around. You're going to hurt the bat. And the bat wasn't any bigger than maybe my hand. I mean, it was a little bat. And Ron goes, it felt really weird on my leg.
I bet it did.
Because you could feel its little claw. He could feel its little claws in his knee.
Digging in.
So, and it's like, it just made me laugh because, I've always been afraid of bats getting stuck in my hair. And it's like, but when that bat chased Zach down the stairs at McPike Mansion, I fell over. I thought that was the best thing ever. And only because of the fact that he kept saying demon, demon, demon. And speaking of demons, how often have you come in contact with a demon on an investigation?
Very, very, very seldom do you ever come in contact with something that is actually a demon. So far, I think I've only come into contact with one. And I can't say where that was. Now there's a difference between a demon and demonic. Even a human spirit can act demonic. If they're ticked off and they've been around and they've got some strength to them, what they do to you can seem very demonic. What was in me was actually that. It was pretty healthy. Let's just say that. Took a bit to get out. But a lot of times, like I said, it's a human entity that's pissed off about something. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. And if you treat them like a human being instead of like a sideshow, a lot of times you can talk to them. You can calm them down. Okay, what do you need? Let's talk. Why are you mad? Why are you angry? Why are you still here? We get to help them just as much as we get to help our clients. So it's a win-win. A lot of times when that happens, by the time we're done talking to them, they're ready to cross. Just treating things with respect, going in with respect, is a big bonus when you're doing this kind of thing. There are elementals that can look very demonic. They're not. In fact, a case we just got done doing here not too long ago. I used an elemental that I had, I'm not going to say befriended, but struck a deal with at a lake. Started going to this lake. It started bugging me all the time. Once I got this removed, I just went out one day and said, hey, look, you leave me alone. I can see you. You leave me alone. I'll pick the trash up in your lake. I'll take care of your lake. Boom, deal. Actually took it to an investigation. It was a male. There was a female of the same type of elemental causing issues. The house was right by a park, and this elemental was feeding off of the children. So I struck a deal and took this thing up and said, hey, I got you a girlfriend, but here's the catch. You got to take her to a lake somewhere up there and set up a new shop. Boom, done.
Oh, that's interesting.
So not all nasty things are nasty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
One person we helped in Washington, something looked demonic. Big, red, fiery. Okay, fine. Let's stop, take a step back. Let's talk to this thing. Turned out that it was a native that had been burned in a fire, and he was still on fire. I do Reiki, so I'm also triple water. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. So I went back in the shop at work and I Reiki'd water onto this individual. And all of a sudden I have this soaking wet native standing in front of me, giving me this look like, you really just got me wet. And then poof, he was gone.
That's very interesting because of the fact that in this case, it was showing everybody else something different. And then when you see it for what it really is, it doesn't have any power.
Yeah. So it pays to stop and, take a step back. It's like, okay, let's make sure what we're dealing with. Because if we would have treated it like a demonic and just taken it out, A, we would have taken away his free will. B, we would have ended a human spirit instead of crossing.
How do you know when a spirit needs to be crossed as opposed to just needs to be cleared, basically be cleared of its negativity?
Well, every individual that we run into like this is different, just like every human being is different. There are some human beings that are just not going to say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. You can't.
Yeah, they're just negative. But you know what? I shouldn't even have asked that question because we have to go to break. So we're going to have to come back to this.
Sure.
So hopefully we remember where we stopped. But everyone, you're listening to WBHM-DB.com out of Birmingham, Alabama. And we will be back in a few minutes. And this will be our last break. So if you have any questions for Keith or any comments, please put them in chat and I will make sure that he gets them. Thank you. And we'll be back.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello, everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET-FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, Ltd., and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Paranormal Pride, back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Keith Ottersburg. And let me see what I can remember that we were talking about. We were talking about spirits that needed to be cleared. How did a spirit know that it needed to be? How do you know that a spirit needs to be cleared, or if it just needs to have its negativity taken away?
Okay. Generally, an entity will work with you if you're going to be able to cross them. If they absolutely refuse, if they keep attacking, then you do what you need to do to take care of the situation. We've had both. You got to protect your clients, you got to protect them and try to help them, all you can. But just like some individuals, we got people in prison all over the United States and all over the world because they're just plain bad people. They won't stop doing bad things to good people. So there are some that have to be, quote, taken care of in a different avenue.
Yeah, because, there's a lot of people out there that are of this, it's like, how do you know, I've had people say, oh, I just crossed over all the spirits. And it's like, how do you know that you did? First of all, how do you know that you did? And second of all, why would you do that? Unless that's what the spirits wanted.
Yeah.
Will the spirits just cross over if that's what they want to do, or is it something that
they've got free will too? Like I said, there may be a message that they have to give to somebody before they cross.
Can't force them to cross over. They have to be willing to go.
Yeah, and like I said, that's where discussion is so important. Treating them like an individual is so important. We had one case. It was a Slender Man type entity, tall individual, had a suit and a hat. It was jumping back and forth between twins' residences. Be it one for a while, be it the other for a while. Turns out that he passed and didn't cross because he was waiting for his wife. When his wife passed, she crossed right away. So he'd been sitting here waiting for her when she's already up there. And the twins actually looked like his wife. So he was confused by the fact that there was two of them, trying to figure that out. That's why he was jumping back and forth between the residences. And we finally, after probably maybe an hour of negotiating, convinced him that his wife's already up there and it's time to go to her. So I opened a window. We said, call for her. And sure as you know what, he's like, oh my God, there she is. And boom, he was gone, But until we got him to understand, he wasn't going nowhere.
Well, like I said, that's good to know that it's, well, in her case, she's like, she didn't know that he was waiting for her there. So she crossed over, and then he's sitting there going, but.
Yeah, it was miscommunication, and that's all it was.
Yep.
So,
I do have a comment from Missy Lynn. She says, in closing, for me personally, I'd like to say Keith is just an amazing person who helps people develop, and he never judges. His mind is always open and willing to go extra miles, no matter who he works with. I'm proud to be with such great leadership. And the other thing she said was that you also engineer many of your own devices, and they're great looking, and you're able to replicate. So what devices are you working
First of all, I wanted to tell her thank you very much. That almost made me water my cheeks right there. I rigged up a portal. It's essentially a guitar amp with a noise reduction pedal and a reverb pedal. And you hook that up to a spirit box so you can take the static out of the spirit box and just the noises come through.
Yeah, I hate the static.
Yeah, it's so time consuming trying to pull stuff out of those, I've got some ideas for some stuff, but I don't really have the tools or the knowledge to make things. There are some other individuals out there that are coming up with a lot of new and nifty things. So I'm going to keep an eye on those. Hopefully I'll be able to, come up with some of them or, get the plans or something.
Last week I had on Katie Stafford.
Okay.
And
that name sounds familiar.
He builds equipment. He builds spirit boxes. And he said that he's out there to help people if they need help.
Okay, cool.
So, and he was on Ghosts of Morgan City. He is the paranormal mad scientist.
Perfect.
So there you go. There's your contact on that stuff. He's also ex-military, which I did not know last week beforehand.
Okay.
I think I knew that in the back of my mind, but he didn't say anything until after the show. So it's like, oh, crud. So I'd like to thank him for his service. Were you in the military as well?
No.
So
I almost went in the Marines, but found out my recruiter lied to me about everything, so I told him where to go.
Oh, well, and so, and you have a regular daytime job as well, right?
Yeah. I work I manage the Napa Auto Parts in Beatrice.
Well, that could be scary in itself.
Sometimes dealing with the public is more dangerous than dealing with the paranormal.
I know that Beatrice has a lot of haunted history, and
yes.
I think you talked about a couple places, and I think some of those were in Beatrice. We had a weatherman here. Every time we turned around, he would always talk about Beatrice. Everything was Beatrice.
Huh.
For some reason, I think he was probably from there. But what are some of the best haunted locations by you?
Like I said, the Burwood Hotel is number one. The activity in that place is off the charts, and it's a big location. It's like a quarter of a block, the second story all the way around, like in an L shape. There's also a place called the Yesterday's Lady. It's like a old vintage clothing store. That place is pretty active. All my homes, naturally. That's really all that's coming to mind.
Oh, Missy Lynn says Dempster's.
Oh, crap. Yeah, Dempster's. Yeah, we've been going there for quite a while. They're going to be tearing the building down. So it was kind of important for us to get in there and try to help as many of them that were stuck there cross, before that place was torn down. Because if it was torn down, then they would be spreading to the homes and businesses around. So it was a lot easier to get in there and do it as opposed to wait until that building comes down and then it's paranormal heck everywhere,
Yeah. I can see that. I can see where they want to get that beforehand. So.
Yeah. And there were actually quite a few people that were still going to work every day. It was crazy how many people were still there.
And then she also says the theater.
Theater. Oh, yes. Community Players Theater. Yeah, we just went there the other day, a couple weeks ago. That place is very active. They have in the basement, they have costumes, a basement full of costumes, clothing, hats, shoes. Things come in that were attached to those items. Again, Warren was asking about, item attachment. Yeah, there are a lot of attachments that way, in that basement. And they like to watch the shows, so they stick around. Nothing negative is in there. All pretty good, happy-go-lucky. We're going to watch the shows. It's like, okay.
Well, you know what? We are at the end of the show. I would like to thank you so much for being on tonight. We had a great time. And
I do too. Let me throw one thing out quick.
Go ahead.
Anybody out there that's having issues in a relationship, be it husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, father, daughter, mother, daughter, whatever. If you're having issues getting along and you're also having paranormal activity, get help. Get rid of the paranormal activity so you can get your issues worked out without it interfering, without the paranormal escalating and hiding the true issues, because it will. So if you even think there's issues, get your place checked out, get some help. There's people out there that will not think you're crazy. Okay. I got to throw that out. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Everyone, thank you so much for listening tonight. I want to do one more plug tonight for the McPike Mansion Campout on Saturday, October 19th. If you're wanting to go, the website is mcpikemansion.com. You will meet Coyote Chris Sutton there, Sandy Little Lizard. She's the one that creeped out. Zach and the team at McPike Mansion as well. I'm hoping she'll be there. She's got some things going on. Sharon Ludke, the owner, and Ron and I will be there. So it'll be a really fun time. Price is $35 for you to camp out there, get your food and all that stuff. Or you can stay at the hotel, the local hotel. The Super 8's like $71. Or you can just come and hang out as long as you want and go home. It's up to you, but it's $35. And we have a great time. And it's the only person you have selling you stuff there is Sharon. And the only speaker you have is Sharon talking about the mansion. So we get to hobnob, have a good time, $35, bring your tent, and we'll all hang out and have a great time. If you have any questions, you can contact me. I probably know the answer, but the website, again, is mcpikemansion.com, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. The other thing is there will only be replays for the next 3 weeks on the Paranormal Pride because I'm traveling. I'm actually going down to see Kat on next Monday, and the 2 following Mondays, Kat's traveling, so we will not be live. So if you guys have anything you want to talk to me about, just send me a message and we'll talk. So, and I'm in the process of rescheduling those guests so that you guys will find out who I've got, when I got them. So it's all going to be good. So Keith, thank you so much for being on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is there anything you want to tell everybody on how to reach you if they need to reach you?
Easiest way is through the Cobra Paranormal Team Facebook page.
Perfect. So you guys all know how to find everything on Facebook, and we will be talking to you. And if you guys have any questions for him, like I said, Cobra Paranormal, you guys can find it all out there. So have a great night, everyone. You're listening to WBHM-DB.com out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll talk to you guys all in 3 weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.